May 14th, 2007. We roll out the gate. Not even 300 yards later, we're rolling, and all of a sudden, the first vehicle starts getting engaged. They started getting shot from the left-hand side. And as soon as we turn, man, I just see combatants outside, like holding AKs and everything. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I just get on my 50 count and start laying rounds. And as soon as all that happens, I remember going over a bump. So I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to be. But when I was processing it, the loudest ID that I've ever heard goes off. And up until this point, I've been blown up about 13 times. This one was not the same. What we found out was they had actually dug a hole from a house all the way through the middle of the street and started putting explosives underneath it. It was 200 pounds of explosives.
Jesus.
Threw the Humvee up in the air about 4 or 5 feet, something crazy. Hits down. And as soon as it hits down, like my legs buckled and I fell into the right-hand side. And I remember looking at Harkey. And I just remember laying on him and I'm like, well, shit, this is it.
My name is Derek Wolfe. I'm a Super Bowl champion and a 10-year NFL vet. Now, after a decade of professional football, I'm focusing on my other passions. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Wolfe Untamed. Today's guest is a really close friend of mine, Omar "Crispy" Avila. Omar is a wounded veteran and he's a huge outdoorsman, just a great human being. His positivity is unmatched. Today we're going to be talking all about his story, what happened, how he battled back from that, and what he's doing now with his life. Hope you enjoy it. Omar, man, this worked out perfect because I know you're in. We're going to do some duck hunting tomorrow.
Heck yeah.
With Warren Sapp, which will be, you'll wait till you meet that fucking guy. He's awesome.
Dude, I can't wait.
He's phenomenal.
I was, when Lane, when we were planning this whole thing, I was like, dude, I'm in. I am not missing this trip for anything. I was like, I get to hunt with you, Derek, and I was like, in Warren Sapp, like, dude, he, in the 90s, 2000s, that was the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he was just that guy. Like, I didn't even root for Tampa or the Raiders, but I used to just watch it because of him.
Yeah, absolutely. Hall of Famer, man. He's the fucking...
Yeah, I just saw him post earlier today that he got his jacket.
He got his new jacket.
I was like,
you could, when you meet him, you understand how he would lose it because he's fucking awesome, dude. He's such a great guy. But shit, man, it worked out perfect. You come into town, and I had a podcast right before this, so I had to move some things around, and we made it work. So I'm really happy that I didn't want to do this over Zoom, because we're, you're my friend, so I didn't want to
yeah.
It's just better.
It's not the same.
It's always better in person, especially with somebody that's your friend.
Yep.
Because that connection and everything. But
for sure.
But I'm glad you're here, man. And the way I wanted to structure this was I just wanted to talk about your story.
Yeah.
And leading up to this point, let's talk about you played football in high school, you went to play college football, then you moved just talk about that. Where you grew up in Texas, right? Obviously.
Yep.
And what part? Like San Antonio area?
Brownsville, Texas, which is like down south, man. It's as close as it gets to like the border. It's a border town.
So you're an illegal is what you're saying.
I mean, I was at one point and then, did the right thing.
Well, they're giving $1,000 per head now. So
I never got that. I'm so pissed because coming from an immigrant family, and the way that my family did it. And, when we were here doing our whole process, not once did my mom ask for any financial help, nothing. It was, my mom had 2 jobs. My dad had 2 jobs. And my mom used to go pick shrimp at this place where it was knee deep in mud, and she get paid by the pound. Never heard her complain, never heard her ask for anything. We weren't out doing any, crazy stuff. It was like, we're here, we're going to make this happen. This is the American dream. Put your head down, work hard, and get after it. And that was it. And now some of these illegals are getting more benefits than some of us that have been wounded in war and should be taken care of by this country. And you look at it and I'm like, holy crap, like you're doing all this for these people who haven't done anything for this country yet. Now,
they're not paying taxes. They're not
nothing.
They're not contributing anything.
Nothing.
But you're going to hand them a $2,000 check.
Yeah.
A place to stay.
Yeah. For what? It makes no sense.
It makes sense when you think about them trying to switch the voting demographic.
I mean, what else are they looking for?
So they're buying votes.
Yeah, it's basically exactly what it is. And you know what? I was really happy this year because where I'm from, like the border town, it's called the Valley. All down there, it's always been blue my whole life. And I never understood that because us coming from an immigrant family and being immigrants, it's God, country, family. And it's always been that. It's you work hard for what you have. You take care of your family. And so those values don't add up with the Democratic Party.
At all.
Never have. Never. And so I never understood why it was that a lot of Hispanics voted for the Democratic Party, because I want to say, so as long as I can remember, let's say 30 years, I've seen the Democrats come in and promise minorities the world. And then once they get elected, they forget about the minority fucking people. And then they come back again.
Like, oh, we're
4 years later, oh, we're back. And this is what you didn't do anything. And so they've done that for so long. And this year, on this election, I had so many friends growing up that automatically registered as Democrats because that's what their parents did. And that's, that was the thing to do down there. And they all know that I've never been that way. And neither has my dad, neither has my mom. We've always been super conservative. And the same thing with my wife. My wife's Cuban. Her mom came from Cuba. Her dad is Cuban as well. And they're super like conservatives.
Because they know what communism really looks like.
Exactly. And so it always blew my mind. I was like, coming from Mexico and seeing how jacked up that country is. And I know how prosper Mexico can be. Like they have agriculture down to the T. I mean, we get a lot of fruits from over there.
Oh yeah.
The tourism is amazing. Why is it not thriving? Why are the people suffering? Why is it that every time I go over there, I see people like and just living in
it's corrupt.
It's 100%. Why? Because it's been run by Democratic people who took guns away from the Mexican people, and they can't defend themselves against the cartel.
Yeah.
So the only ones that have them is the cartel and all those that are up to no good and take advantage of those people because they know they can't defend themselves.
Yep.
And so it's the same thing. And the Valley was always like that. Everybody was a Democrat till this election. I had so many friends reaching out to me asking me, like, okay, so tell me a little bit about the Republican Party. And so I spent a lot of time with a lot of friends. And I was so happy that when this election happened, dude, the map down there went from blue to red. All
That's
of it.
Great.
Not a little bit, the whole thing. Like I was
it's because people that did it the right way, this is like the ultimate slap in the face to them.
Yeah.
Like you're spitting in their face. They people that waited 20 years to get their citizenship.
Yep.
And did everything the right way.
Yep.
And now you're just like, oh, by the way, we're just going to allow all these people to come across. We're talking about 25 million people. Yeah. Right. And then not to mention the dangers that come with that.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're not talking about women and children coming over. We're talking about middle-aged, fighting-aged men, military
from China.
Men.
You see how many Chinese have come through?
What about the Taliban that's coming? What about the terrorists? There's 2,000. Yeah. Sarah Adams said that there's 2,000, at least 2,000 terrorists that have come across the border.
Yep. At sleeper cells. Yeah.
Yep. So if that doesn't scare you and get your butthole tight,
I tell people all the time, I got into the point where my wife, everybody that I know, carry everywhere you go. Yeah. I don't care where you're going, carry, because you just don't know. I have so many friends that I went to high school with, that I served with, that I personally know that work as Border Patrol. And the message, and I'll show it to you off screen because I don't think I can show it on here, but the people that they're capturing, the things that they're seeing on the border, it's insane. And I don't think like an everyday person really realizes what's going on down there and why is it that we keep asking for better security. It's not to keep the people that want to come here and build the American dream. It's not that.
No.
You do have people that are coming here that are hard workers, that are going to better this country 100%. But that's a small percentage of people. You're not seeing all these other people that are coming here because they hate America. Right. Because they want to hurt people. Like, you're not seeing that because they're not showing it to you. But I'm telling you that it's real.
Oh, yeah.
And people always come after me because of that. They're like, well, you were an immigrant, you're a minority. Why do you stand on this side? And then when I give them my perspective, they're like, oh, I didn't think about it that way. I'm like, no, you didn't. Because you've never left your sheltered little life from here and have gone to places like I have, from Iraq to Mexico, Kuwait, just all over the world. And you see what it really is to be, put down and to not have anything and to be oppressed. That's happening over there, not here.
No.
Like, no one's doing that to you here.
No. It's so bad. That's what I said that I went to Thailand in 2016 or 2017. And I saw the way they live over there,
Yeah.
you know, and I was like, you have some of the tallest buildings in the world, but right there on the Bangkok River, they're living in shacks.
Yeah.
With,
Cardboard boxes.
on bamboo
Yeah.
sticks.
Yeah.
But they're happy as hell.
Yeah.
Happy.
Yeah.
Super happy. Swimming. They told me not to let the water from the Bangkok River touch me. They said, don't let the water touch you. And I said, why? He's like, you'll probably get hepatitis. And I was like,
Damn.
there was kids swimming in it
Oh, wow.
with monitor lizards everywhere.
Jeez.
Like, you want to talk about oppressed?
Yeah.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
go to these, and they same in Mexico. Anytime anybody's been to Mexico,
Yeah.
when you land, go ahead and
When you leave your resort.
yeah, when you leave
Yeah.
the resort, go ahead and look and see what's really going on
Yeah.
down there. That's, you know, it's funny. I was listening, you know, the Drinking Bros.
Yeah.
I saw they were talking. Holloway's a good friend of mine, and Dan was talking about how we should just take Mexico.
I mean, I'm not opposed to it.
We should take Mexico and we should take Canada.
Yeah, I think Canada will roll over a lot faster than Mexico.
Oh
but yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we wouldn't have to fight we have to fight the cartel.
Yeah.
But I think what you do is you
Sign me up.
deputize. Is it deputize? Deputize every veteran.
Dude. Yeah,
Deputize
yeah. I don't know about every veteran, but yes, the ones
Well,
in combat positions, yes.
People that have been in combat
Yeah.
is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Deputize them.
Yep.
And we will take care of this fucking problem.
I can see that.
Because at the end of the day, when you got 300,000 kids missing,
Yeah. What did you not see the news yesterday? They found an 18-wheeler at some Walmart and it was full with kids. Literally just happened yesterday or the day before. I saw it on the news. I didn't read the whole article, but they found a bus full of kids. And it wasn't American kids.
no.
It's kids that are crossing the border, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
and they're
and-
being sold into sex trafficking.
100%.
It's disgusting, man.
But that's another thing that people turn their blind eye to. It's just like, it's right here in front of your faces. This is part of letting everybody in without due process. You're gonna have a wave of people coming in, and you got to realize that there's evil people in this world. There's great people, because I believe that there is a lot of good people on the Democratic side as well that mean well, that want for other people to prosper in this country. But they turn their eye to that type of thing that's happening, because you know that there's evil people that are coming with them that are going to traffic those people, that are going to rape and kill people. And you don't see the numbers, but they show it on Mexico news every single day of these people that are coming here and they're being intercepted by the cartel. And now these young military men are like, you either work for us or they're going to put a bullet in your head and leave you on the side of the road. No one cares, because who's going to claim that person that's coming from Venezuela or from, whatever other part of the third world country down there. But you don't see that. You don't see these women getting raped and then being tossed on the side of the road. You don't see these kids going missing. And there's
stuff
being
going
sex
on
trafficked.
with the stuff that's going on with women, dude. It's so disgusting. They'll kidnap them, rape them, and get them addicted to
drugs.
fentanyl.
Yeah.
And use them for as a prostitute. And then when they're not good to go anymore, they fucking bury them out in a desert somewhere.
Yeah. Or
They found a bunch of them in Oklahoma.
Yep. But no one's saying anything about it.
Nobody says shit about it because
Nobody.
you know why? Because it doesn't fit the agenda.
It doesn't.
So
It doesn't.
that's where it's something's going to change. And I thank God every day that Trump was elected. I know that a lot of people are fear mongered into thinking that's a terrible thing, and this and that. But it's like, do you see? Like, you don't see what's actually going on.
No.
You're not paying attention. You're blind. You're throwing a blind eye and listening to the propaganda.
And it's been proven time after time that the media is feeding you all this BS that's not true to make you fear, the other side, and just be hateful towards President Trump for no particular reason. Now, I've told people, I'm good friends with Junior. We've had conversations, and I'm like, I don't agree to a lot of the things your dad says when he just goes off the cuff. I'm like, but that's what makes him him.
Right.
But he does make things happen. I was like, one of the things when they first started running that won my vote for him was he said he was going to come over and take care of what's called the Freedom Act, that any veteran can go to any hospital around them and get care. I didn't have to go to the VA because that's a whole nother case. They're so jacked up that you can go to any doctor and be taken care of, and it's going to be covered by the VA, which was great. So I was like, cool. I love the fact that he's doing that, because we've had, and this goes back to a bunch of Republican presidents as well. Like President Bush came in and said he was going to fix the VA, didn't do jack shit.
Yeah.
Obama came in and said he was going to fix the VA, didn't do jack shit. You know, we've had people come in and say they were going to do stuff for the VA and for the veterans just to win the vote and never did anything. He came in and actually did something. And they're actually working on more stuff to get done this year when he gets back in that haven't been released because, again, these are things that I've had, you know, been blessed to be in the background and talk about these things with people that are going to make it happen. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, just wait till these things come out. And I want people to be like, oh shit, he really is for us.
He's actually doing something for us.
And there's a lot of great things coming to the VA because of who they're going to appoint and the things that they're going to change.
I love to hear that.
Yeah, it's going to be good.
Yeah, I love to hear that because, you know, my brother's a chief in the Navy, and I remember he needed to get it. He had like something torn in his knee or something, and he knows that it's torn, right? But they make him get an X-ray first.
Yep. So
then he gets an X-ray, but that doesn't. It's not like a quick process. So he's gonna wait for another 3 weeks to go get an MRI now.
No.
So now he goes and gets an MRI, and then they're like, "Oh, well, we have to wait for the doctor to be able to look at it."
Yep.
So he waits another month. So now you're talking about like a 3-month period.
Yeah.
Where he could have got that surgery quicker and been recovered damn near by the time.
3 months.
Yeah. It's it's insane. And then stem cell stuff, like hormone therapies for vets.
I was about to jump
all
on
of that stuff.
Yeah, I gotta go to Medellin, Colombia with BioAccelerator to get stem cells in another country.
Yeah.
So that I can function and be okay.
That's bullshit.
And then the hormone therapy too. Like,
yeah, those guys are taking good care of you, right?
Yes.
We're talking about Revitalized Health. Those guys.
Fucking awesome. So I try to do it through the VA, right? I went and said, hey, I don't feel good. I'm not having good thoughts. I have low drive. There's something going on with me. And I think it's my testosterone. And after talking to so many people, they're like, well, yeah, you know, you were in a combat zone. You did combat operations at day, at night. You slept very little. You had adrenaline dumps because when you get in a firefight, adrenaline goes up.
Yep.
When I was in a firefight almost every day for a whole year, and it goes up and then it spikes and it shoots down. That messes up with your hormones. That messes up with your testosterone, with your sleep, with everything that you can think of. And so I did the proper thing. Went to the VA. They're like, okay, you got to go see this person, and then when you're done seeing that person, you got to go see this person. I saw 3 different people before I even had labs done.
That's a
for them
huge waste of time
to approve it. And it gets better. When they approve it, they're like, here's a little bottle of TRT. Take this much for 3 weeks and then get off of it. And then we'll eventually send you some more. It's like, are you fucking crazy? You're getting this guy to normal and then you're taking it away and it's right back down.
If people don't understand what we're talking about, TRT is testosterone replacement therapy.
Yep.
So if you're replacing your testosterone, that means you're not going to produce any more testosterone.
Yeah.
You're already not producing enough.
Yep.
And then you start reintroducing testosterone, and then you pull that away, you're just going to drop again.
Yeah.
And it's going to fuck you up.
Yeah. You know what my numbers was when I talked to John and he finally got me tested?
I think he told me it was some crazy number. It was like
36.
36. Yeah.
36.
Dude, that's and just so everybody knows, a normal healthy level is like somewhere between 5 and 1,000.
And 1,000.
You know?
I was at 36. And he was like, how are you functioning right now? And I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, why haven't you blown your fucking brains out? And I was like, wait, what do you mean? And he's like, yeah, like this, you're not functioning well at this. He's like, how are you doing what you're doing? I was like, I don't know. I'm just built different, I guess. And he goes, we got to get your numbers back to normal. And then I really got to talking to him and I was like, you know, let's talk about this, John. And he's like, yeah. He's like, have you had thoughts like this? I was like, dude, I have weird thoughts all the fucking time. I'm like, you know, he's like, well, tell me. I'm like, well, like, you know, when I'm on a rooftop, I was like, I wonder if I jump, how bad would this hurt?
Yeah.
And he's like, what the fuck? I'm like, well, you asked, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
And so he was like, well, yeah, that's your testosterone levels not being there. He's like, you know, the other shit. And I was like, yeah, man, I definitely.
Probably not sleeping good.
Dude, I wasn't sleeping worth a shit. Like sleeping, snoring, like all these things. I go to the gym and just walk around because I was so tired, yawning the whole fucking time. And I'm like, all right, cool. I can put these down. I did a workout, which is bullshit. But as soon as he put me on that, he put me on peptides, and then I got a fucking CPAP, bro. I mean, like, I'm dropping weight like crazy right now. I'm sleeping so fucking good. My mood has changed. I was snappy before, and And I told my wife, I was like, look, I'm so sorry, because I know there's times where like I just got fucking annoyed by things and I walk away, and just for no reason, I was just an asshole.
Yeah.
And dude, ever since I got on all of that, like I just like it changed my freaking life. Like happier, just excited. I got energy. Like I feel rested. Like all these things from a little fucking bottle that fixed it. And we do blood work every 2 to 3 months or something,
Yeah.
just to make sure that we're good and we can change things and do. It changed my life, man. And I told John, I was like, we need to do this to help other vets, because there's not a lot of this out there, and the knowledge it's not being pushed out to people. And
Well, people are trying to, Rogan pushes it pretty hard.
Yeah, he does.
He pushes it pretty hard, so people listen to it, but I don't think people know where to start.
Yeah.
Because
that's the hard part.
And finding like a good somebody that's going to actually take care of you and not trying to take advantage of you.
Yeah.
So because that's why I love these guys at Revitalize, because they don't treat you like a number. You know what I mean? They treat you like family, like they care about you. John was an actual doctor, so he knows what the fuck he's doing. And his two brothers are great too. So John, Joe, and James are the three brothers, but they're just awesome guys. That's why when you were telling me you were like trying to figure out your hormones, I was like, oh, I got the guys.
Yeah. No,
really
that was a great hookup. I'm glad you did. Yeah, because that's another thing. That's why we're having a lot of suicides in our veteran communities, because guys don't know where their testosterone levels are at. And they're having these thoughts. They're having, all this shit going through their head, and they don't understand what's going on.
Right.
Why am I acting this way? And they go to the VA and they have no answers for them.
Well, they make it worse for them.
They do.
They make it more frustrating and more difficult. And then next thing you know, they're fucking living on the street because they've literally ruined their life.
Yeah, 100%.
Because they don't know how to function. They're not functioning correctly because their hormones are fucked up.
Yeah.
They're not sleeping. They end up self-medicating.
Yep.
And next thing you know, they're fucking, shooting heroin in the street.
Yeah.
And that's what happens.
Yep.
And it happens to not just veterans. It happens to a lot of people.
Yep.
It happens to a lot of people because their hormones are fucked up.
Yeah.
Because of the foods they're eating, and because there's all kinds of shit that goes on. All the bullshit that's in our food. So let's talk about what got you to that point. So you played, what position did you play?
Defensive end.
Fuck yeah. Built different.
Yo, way different.
You got to be fucked up to play that. You just got to be fucked up to play defense.
I love defense.
That's what I love too. I love playing defense. So you went from high school to TCU, right?
Yeah. So I had an offer to go. Ended up joining the military instead. So I went and did tour the facilities, but it was just going to be, it's such an expensive school. Even with the scholarship, it wasn't going to be crazy. And I didn't want to put my parents in that. And so when 9/11 happened, I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
And I had it in the back of my head that I wanted to join. Because I remember growing up, and my father was in as well. My dad was in during the Gulf War. And I remember like growing up, I used to see my dad's pictures, in his uniform. And I was like, man, that looks badass. Like, I was like, that's super cool. And so that was kind of already, I think it was just already wired into my head. It wasn't a dream thing just yet. And when 9/11 happened, I remember being in class as a sophomore, and our history teacher was a Vietnam vet. And he got up, and that dude was hardly ever serious. He was such a fun teacher. And he got up, and you could just see the knot in his throat. You're like, what the fuck? And he's like, guys. And we were all like, and he's like, guys. And then he just finally said, shut up. And we're like, oh, shit. He goes, something happened. I need to turn on the TV. And so he turns it on. And as soon as he turned it on, that's when the second plane hit the towers. And he looked, and dude, I still get goosebumps. He looked at us, and he goes, we're under attack. And I was like, what the fuck? 2 weeks before that, before 9/11, I had gotten my citizenship. I had gone and did the whole raise my hand, everything and all that. And so when that happened, I immediately said, I'm fucking signing up, and I'm going as a sophomore. And one of the things that I remember the most is I've always been told that people that serve sign a blank check to this country. I felt like it was the opposite way around. This country signed a blank check to me because they gave me a citizenship and said, here, go do whatever you want to do, become whoever you want to become. I wanted to join because of that. I was like, I got to go fight because I have a younger brother and a younger sister, and I want to go fight. I was like, I love football. I was all about it. Who knows where I would have ended up, but it was just a passion. I loved it, but I was like, but I want to serve. Like I felt like I was given an opportunity to do whatever I wanted, and I wanted to join. I wanted to go fight for my country, and so I ended up waiting till my senior year, obviously. And at that point, I already had buddies that I play football with. You know, we were all seniors, and a bunch of them joined the army too. And I remember them coming back and like, dude, you gotta fucking go, you gotta go. And they were always like, yeah. And I had buddies that went SF and infantry and a couple Ranger guys, and they're like, you gotta sign up for infantry. He's like, you gotta go infantry, then you gotta go to Ranger, and then you gotta go to SF. And I was like, cool, that's my fucking plan. And so I signed up with a an option to go SF after on my second re-enlist thing. And so I end up signing up. I go to basic training. First time I ever been on a plane was to Fort Benning, Georgia, from San Antonio, and went through the home maps and everything. Had the doctor put his fucking finger in my butthole and all that shit, which was not fun, by the way.
Check your prostate.
Yeah, he was. Son of a bitch. I think guy enjoyed his job. And so end up in Fort Benning, Georgia, which was the home of the infantry at the time. Go through basic and everything. And the second time I was on a plane, I was jumping out of it because I got a slot for airborne school, and I was like, this is yeah, cool. Like, fuck. I didn't know any better, but you're young, you're fucking 18 years old. You're like, this is fucking awesome. And I think what makes basic training is those guys around you, because when you see somebody not scared and they're fucking for it, like you feed off of that,
Yeah.
and you just do it. And so I ended up graduating basic training, all that stuff, went to javelin school. And then I got orders to Europe. So at the time I only said Europe. So I'm like, oh shit, I'm going to an airborne unit. Like, hell yeah, let's go. And I get to Germany, and we did their whole in-processing thing in Frankfurt. And they're like, hey, you're going to the first ID. And I was like, fuck yeah. I was like, do they jump out of planes? And the guy's like, yeah, they got these things called Bradleys. You jump out of them. And I'm like, oh, badass. I end up showing up to my unit in Schweinfurt. And I'm like, oh, where are the Bradleys at? And the guy's like, over there. It was a fucking tank. And I'm like, I was like, is this not an airborne unit? They're like, no, this is a mechanized infantry unit. I'm like, fuck. I was like, damn it. Which ended up being great, but got there. Germany's beautiful, man. It really is. There's a lot of things that I loved about it and a lot of things I hated about it, but it was great. Get there, we start doing our workup to get deployed. Then we finally get orders, and they're like, hey, we're going to Iraq. And I was like, fuck yeah, here we go. Up to that point, you're training, you're doing all these things. You want to it's kind of like, it reminded me a lot of football, is right? It's like practice, game day. Let's fucking go. Like, you've been practicing all week. You're tired of fucking practicing. You just want to go and fucking hit somebody.
Yeah.
And that was it. We've been doing workups for like 6-7 months, and it's constant. You're like, fuck, man, let me put my skills to the test. Let's see if everything that I've learned really works. And so we finally did. We deploy, and dude, within the first day, I mean, it was just fucking chaos. Like, we ended up taking to this place called Aramia, which it was the last place that Saddam Hussein had been seen before he went into hiding. And the guys previous to us went in there and they killed both of his last remaining sons. We were staying at his palace. Like, it was fucking crazy. And it was just firefight after firefight after firefight every single day. We lived in this house, and then it was our whole sector. So it was literally here. A lot of the guys call it the Alamo, because we were there and it was just everything else, right? So we're like, fuck. We were constantly like getting shot at. There was constant mortars flying in. This one time, second platoon was getting ready to do their workout. They were about to go out, and they're doing their brief outside, and dude, they're all standing in a circle listening to their platoon sergeant. And we had our outdoor fucking workout area on the top. So I was up there like, lifting some weights before going to bed, because we did 9 missions. And these guys are getting ready to go out like at 6 a.m. Motors start coming in. Dude, a fucking motor landed right in the middle of all of them, who should have killed everybody. But these guys had it in a truck, and they were driving, hitting them and shooting them over so they can get away fast, that they forgot to pull the pin. Oh. And so that round lands right in front of them, and everybody's like, holy shit, everybody ran. And so thankfully they forgot to pull the pin out. So the EOD guys came out. EOD guys came out, took it out back, blew it up. I go to bed. I wake up a couple hours later. I got a kitchen patrol or kitchen duty, and we were moving the MRE boxes from one side to another because it was rain. It was about to rain or something. Dude, I'm moving boxes and I'm talking to my buddy, just talking shit. And then I look down. There was another dud stuck in an MRE box, and I'm like, oh shit! For the first time I froze. I couldn't move. I'm like, motor. He's like, what? I was like, there's a fucking round. And he's like, oh shit. And he grabbed me and pulled me. Thankfully, the pin was still in it, so it didn't go off. So there was always something going on. Every single day since we got there was shit going on. And unfortunately, we started losing guys pretty fast because that area hadn't really been patrolling in a while. So they had times to set up IEDs. We had guys getting sniped. And around that time, like 2006 to 2008 was our deployment. There was a lot of guys getting fucking sniped all over the place. And so we had a few guys get sniped. We had a lot of IEDs. And it was just every day. And so, we definitely put our training to work. And,
what would a successful day look like then?
Everybody comes home alive.
Yeah. So you're not really trying to like accomplish a goal other than survive.
So we did have a lot of, so we were going after high value targets a lot. So HVTs was our thing. So they're in the area where we get a lot of intel and say, hey, this guy that's providing money for IEDs throughout the whole country is right here. So we would do missions with a bunch of other people and go in and get them. So that was a really good day. Being able to go capture a high value target and coming back home alive and not having anybody, get injured or shot or anything or dead was a really good day. So that was a very successful day in general there. But it was like a 50-50. You just never knew. It was just that bad where we were at. It was a really tough fucking deployment. We had guys that had done 2 or 3 deployments leading up to that, and I remember them like, dude, I've never encountered anything like this. This is fucking gnarly. And I was like, holy shit. When you hear that from
somebody
that's been through it, you're like, cool. And this is my first one. Like, yeah, cool. Like, fuck. But I mean, at that point, you really don't think about it. It's just like, I gotta go, and we gotta go fucking fuel. The fuel that you get out of that is just like trying to get vengeance.
Yeah.
Fucking nicotine and just fucking anger is what fuels you out there to just kind of keep going every day. So that was just it was an everyday thing where it's just like so much adrenaline every single fucking day, and it would dump.
Yeah.
And it would dump. So that's kind of leading back out to now that I'm at home as a civilian and I don't fucking have any of that going on. It's just like now I'm seeing the effects of it, and you're like, oh shit, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it did it to me as a football player too, and they said it was like, dude, your adrenaline's getting dumped
because you're going every play.
Yeah, like every play it does that, and then he's like, so when you're done and you don't have it, your body's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, where's it at? Yeah.
So I'm sure that was like the hardest part, probably. I mean, obviously you dealt with so much shit.
Yeah.
But that's just another fucking, dagger to deal with is your hormones.
Yep.
Hey guys, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite sponsors, Juniper Mountain Coffee. Coffee without compromise. You're getting high quality coffee without the high prices. This is an American company that stands behind their values. They stand behind their coffee. These guys make some of the best coffee I've ever had. It's a coffee I drink every morning. Juniper Mountain Coffee works directly with the farmers, paying fair wages, and that way you have no middleman. There's no BS, no garbage. You're getting high quality products. So go check them out at junipermountaincoffee.com. So let's talk about how you got injured.
Yeah. So, I mean, like I said, there was always something going on every single day. And then finally, May 14th, 2007, we wake up like any other day, right? Yeah. Just make sure you got waters in your truck, make sure you got enough ammo, make sure you got enough grenades, whatever it is that you needed. You get up an hour or two before, you prep all your shit, make sure your radios work. Just a, common thing. Make sure that everything's running. And so we wake up, we can do everything. I was the gunner, so I make sure I had enough ammo, I had everything going on. We're good to go. We roll out the gate. As soon as we roll out, IED goes off right behind my vehicle. And boom. We're like, oh shit, here we go. Thankfully, it was a small IED. So we assessed the situation. It had just blown the tire, the spare tire that the Humvees have in the back. It hit that. And it went off, and nothing really happened. So we were like, all right, cool. We're just looking around. My team leader my squad leader, which was right beneath me, Campos, taps me on the leg and he goes, "There's your alarm. Wake up." I'm like, "That's a hell of an alarm." Like, fuck. All right.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Shut up. Give me a cigarette." Because I used to keep my cigarettes in my pocket all the way down so he could reach it because he used to always just jack cigarettes from me. So he gives me one. We wake up or whatever. We keep going. Man, not even 300 yards later, we're rolling and all of a sudden, I was the second vehicle on the convoy out of 5. The first vehicle starts getting engaged. So let's say we're traveling southbound. They started getting shot from the left-hand side. And when they realized it, they couldn't turn right away. So we turned right away and they went ahead and turned on the following road. And as we do that, as soon as we turn, man, I just see combatants outside, like holding AKs and everything. And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. So I just get on my 50 count and I start laying rounds. I kill a few of them. At that point, we're back into formation. We're first, and then we got all 4 trucks behind us. They start maneuvering, and I'm like, all right, this is definitely a planned attack. Here we go. And as soon as all that happens, I remember going over a bump. And keep in mind, we've been there 11 months now. We should not even been there. We should have been on our way home because you typically do 12-month deployments. But when we had been there for 9, that's when they extended it to 15 months. So instead of us doing our workup to go back home, we were still patrolling. And so 11 months, I know this area like the back of my hand. I've been there multiple times. I'm like, wait, that's not supposed to be. But when I was processing it, the loudest ID that I've ever heard goes off. And up until this point, I've been blown up about 13 times. So I've been through a couple of IEDs. This one was not the same. What we found out was they had actually dug a hole from a house all the way through the middle of the street and started putting explosives underneath it. It was 200 pounds of explosives.
Jesus.
And it was a command detonation, which means the guy was looking at us to set it off. What he should have done was set it off in the middle because that would have killed everybody. But I think he panicked. And when we were almost over it, it hit the back of the vehicle, threw the Humvee up in the air about 4 or 5 feet, something crazy. And this is about a ton vehicle.
Yeah.
Hits down. And as soon as it hits down, like my legs buckled from the gunner's hatch, and I fell into the right-hand side. And I remember looking at Harkey, and I looked into his eyes, man, and his eyes he was done. He was dead. He got killed on the blast. And I just remember laying on him, and I'm like, well, shit, this is it. In the infantry world, it's either you come home alive or you don't. I never knew that there was such a thing as you can get injured, you can come home, and you'll be fine. That was not in the plans for me. I was like, this is where I fucking die. And I remember just laying there, and I just watched the doors on the left-hand side open, and I watched my buddy Catterton run on flames. And then I look over, and I see my buddy Fleming on flames too, and they're running. But it was like slow motion, but fast at the same time. Like, It was kind of weird to explain. Everything slowed down, and I just looked at him. And I remember just looking back at Harkey, and I started praying. Up until that point, we had lost about 14 guys. And I remember being mad at God. I really wasn't praying anymore. I just wasn't a man of faith anymore up until that point. And I remember laying there and I was like, all right, well, fuck, this is it. And so I started praying and I was like, God, please take care of my mom. Because I knew that my mom was going to be the one that was going to take it the hardest. Yeah. I think my dad, I'm not saying that he wouldn't have been sad losing a son, but I felt like he understood being a service member himself.
Yeah.
And so I was praying for my mom, I was praying for my brother and my sister, and I was just like, asking God for forgiveness for not believing. And as I was doing that, I remember Campos grabbing my leg and he was like, get out. And I was like, nah, man, like, nope. And in that moment, I remember just feeling like this energy, like this light in me, dude, which I tell people all the time, it was God, like, whispering in my ear, like, not today. This is not where you die. Get up and get out. And so I get up, I manned my 50 cal and I was about to jump out, but I noticed that Campos couldn't get out. The flames were so bad, his equipment had burned into the seat and he couldn't get out. And I start seeing enemy on the rooftop and I just started unloading the 50 cal. And when I started doing that, one of the rounds cooked off in the barrel and it blew up. And I just remember kind of putting my hands up And I was like, holy shit, I need to get out now. And at that point, one of the other guys had run to the front and had pulled out Harkey and Compost. And I was like, cool. So as a gunner, you're always get on the roof and you jump on the engine and then down because it's pretty high. It's about 6 feet, 6.5 feet tall. And I remember I was going to jump into the engine and I was like, holy shit, like the engine's on fire. If I would have jumped, I would have gone straight down with it and that would have been it. And same thing with the trunk. The trunk was just all fucked up. There was just, flames everywhere. So I jumped to the side and I'm on flames. I didn't even know that I was on flames. And so I grabbed my weapon, my M4, and I jump out. As soon as I hit the ground, man, I broke both of my femurs. And I just remember feeling the fucking pain. I was like, oh shit.
Oh my God.
And I'm on flames. And so, I third grade, you go back to third grade, stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
But I had already fucking dropped. Time to roll. And I started doing it. And let me just tell you, that shit doesn't work. Not with diesel. Like,
No.
I was still on flames. And I remember at that point, one of my buddies had ran from the back to the front, like where we were at. And he's like, close your eyes, close your eyes. I'm like, why? Before I can say, why, hits me with a fire extinguisher and he pulls me out. And I'm like, fuck, I got all this shit everywhere. And he's like, I'll be back. I'm going to go get the medic. I'll be back. I was like, okay. And I just remember still feeling the flames from the Humvee. So I start pushing myself away from the Humvee. And there's a door behind me. And so I turn around. I take 3 shots at the door just to make sure that there was no enemies coming by. I can kind of still see people on the rooftops. And I'm just taking pop shots just to make sure that they stay away. Run out of ammo. And I'm like, fuck. And so I'm sitting there. And out of nowhere, I just feel 2 Black Hawks. Or I didn't even know they were Black Hawks. I feel 2 helicopters over me. And I'm like, holy shit, that was the fastest medical evacuation of all times. Well, what had happened is there was 2 Blackhawks in our area of operations, in our AO, that were going back to base and saw the black smoke popping up. And they were like, what the fuck is that? So they decided to come check it out. Thankfully, they did, because when they came around, there's about 30 to 40 insurgents coming our way with RPGs, RPKs, AKs, everything. And these guys just, unleashed hell on them.
Just fucking lit them up.
Fucking lit them up. And I remember just shells falling everywhere. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, it was kind of something like Black Hawk Down, dude. There was shells everywhere. These guys smoked them. They established communications with the guys on the ground, told them what had happened. They're like, we'll be right back. We got to go fuel up. We've been mission all days. And so they went quickly to fuel up. And I don't remember if they came back after that or not. I'm sure they did. But they pretty much saved us, man, because they were getting ready to wipe up the whole fucking platoon. Like, we could have been on the news, like, insurgents kill this whole, platoon or whatever. And so I just remember being there, and then one of my buddies runs by, and he just looks at me and he goes, dude, are you alive? And I'm like, I think so. And he goes, fuck, I got to get you to Humvee. I'm like, okay. He's like, I'm going to pull you up. I'm like, well, hold on. I think my legs are broken. And he takes a quick glance and he goes, no, you're fine. I'm like, cool. So he grabs me and picks me up. We start walking. I'm putting all my weight on him.
How the fuck are you walking?
No idea. Adrenaline was so fucking high, like so high, that we start walking. And if you've ever opened a Humvee, you know that those doors weigh like fucking 200-300 pounds. And so he goes, I'm going to let you go real quick. I got to open the Humvee. And I was like, cool. So he lets go of me and goes to open the door. All my weight goes back on my legs and my fucking femurs just break again. I just fall back. I remember watching him, Humvee, and then I hit the ground and I'm just watching the sky, and he comes over me. He's like, are you okay? I was like, I told you my legs were broken. And he goes, what the fuck? My adrenaline was so high that I couldn't feel the pain.
Right.
At all. Like, I could not feel the pain. Puts me in the Humvee, closes the door. The driver that was in the front, first day in Iraq, first day in patrol. Like I mentioned earlier, we were losing guys left and right, that we were having replacements coming in.
Yeah.
And this was his first trip out the gate. And rightfully so. He was scared. He was screaming. I don't know how I would have reacted if that was my first day. I don't know. But he's screaming, and I just reached over, and like anybody would do, I slapped the shit out of him. And I said, shut the fuck up and give me the fucking radio. And so he gives me the headset to the radio, and I call it up. I'm like, hey, this is Bluetooth. I got 1 KIA, 1 killed in action. I got 4 wounded. They didn't know that I was one of the 4 wounded. They're like, okay, we'll get medical evacuations ready to go when you guys roll through the gate, talking to him. Medic jumps in. He starts working on me. And
what was he doing?
On me?
Yeah.
He was just pretty much trying to assess the situation and what was going on. And so he was kind of ripping some of the clothes that was kind of sticking to me. So it was, I mean, it was quick, right? And I remember looking at him and I was like, man, I need some water. And he goes, I can't give you water, dude. You're badly burned. Like, hold on, let's get you back. And I'm like, I'm fucking thirsty. And he goes, I was like, look, bitch, I outrank you. Give me some fucking water. And so he gives me a water bottle. Made the biggest mistake of my life. I took 2 sips and then I poured it on my face.
Oh.
And so the dirt, the fire extinguisher, the fucking blast, all the powder from the blast, the grenades going off in our vehicles, the fucking gunpowder, everything just rolled into my eyes. And everything went dark. I couldn't see anything. I could not see anything. And I'm like, fuck. And at that moment, I was like, well, fuck, what do I do now? Do I panic or do I just fucking sit here and stay calm? Like, what do I do? And so I asked the driver, I was like, hey, where are we at in the formation? He goes, we're first vehicle. And I'm like, fuck. So I got to guide this guy back because he has no idea where the fuck we're at. So thankfully, like I said earlier, we've been there 11 months. So I knew this fucking area like the back of my hand. And so I was like, all right, here we go. This is what we're going to do. And he goes, once we have comms from everybody agreeing to go and we're ready, he's like, let me fucking know. And he goes, ready to go, ready to go. And I said, all right, start driving. And he starts driving. I was like, you're going to see, I can't even remember the color of the house. You're going to see this house here. You're going to turn left there. He goes, I see it. I see it. One thing I remember for the rest of my life was these people had one of those bells that, you know, the churches have that are giant in their front yard for whatever fucking reason. It was just there. And I was like, you see that giant bell? And he goes, I see it. I said, take a right. Then you're going to punch it and you're going to see our base. And it was just straight. And he's like, I see it. I said, let me know when we're about 100 yards out. And he goes, we're about 100 yards out. And I called back. I was like, we're rolling in, Open the front gate. Open the front gate. And they open it. We roll in. And as soon as we roll in, you know, they open the door. And I remember Johnson, who's opened the door. He like opens the door and looks at me and he goes, oh shit. And I close the door and he's like, what the fuck? And he opens it up. He's like, dude, I got to get you out. I'm like, there's only 3 medics in there. There's 4 of us. Get the guys in the back. They're worse than me. And he goes, no, we have enough medics. Thankfully, we were right next door to an SF group. So their medic came over to help. And he's like, we got enough people here. And I was like, okay. So he goes to grab me. When he grabs me, my skin just peels off. So like he fell back as he was grabbing me. And he, like, the expression on his face, I'll never forget. Because I looked at him and then I looked at myself and I was like, oh shit, like this is real. And so they finally get me out. They put me on a stretcher and I'm laying on the stretcher. They start working on me. And the minute that I saw my guys come in, like I saw Campos, I saw Fleming and Catterton. Campos wasn't speaking. I told Campos, I was like, hey, we're going home, brother. And he just kind of nodded at me. And I was like, cool. And as soon as I saw them, I knew that we were in a safe zone. So I relaxed and the fucking pain came, dude. Like I had never experienced pain like that in my life. And I hope I never do ever again. But it was such excruciating pain that like I grabbed the medic and I was like, dude, give me some fucking morphine. Please give me some fucking morphine. He goes, I got to stabilize you, bro. Hold on. I was like, fucking stab me, please. And then he finally does. And I don't remember this part, but he told it to me when I was already in the hospital. He said that as soon as I got it, I grabbed him and I said, dude, if I die, it's on you. And I was like, fuck. I was like, yeah, I got to take you out drinking, bro. I'm so sorry. He's like, oh, it's okay. You were high on morphine. I was like, all right. But, you know, once we got in there, I was like, all right, cool, we're good. They kind of stabilizes. The birds got there. They take us out to the landing zone. They're about to load us up. And one of the guys goes, close your eyes, close your eyes. I was like, why? Fucking dirt everywhere. I'm like, fuck. Like, here we go again, you know, because at that point, like, I was blind for a little while. Then it came back. And I remember just fucking hitting me. I'm like, motherfucker. And so they finally load us up. And keep in mind, guys, I was single at the time. The fucking medic that was there was a female. And I can smell her fucking body cologne, perfume, whatever bullshit they put on, body spray. And I just remember going, I was like, how you doing? And she's like, and she just looked at me. She's like, how are you doing? I was like, I'm a shitty situation. And funny enough, she came in to visit me at the hospital because I ended up in Fort Sam Houston, where all the burn patients go and a lot of amputees. And she was doing some training there. And so she came to visit me. And she said I had asked her out. I don't remember this. She said that I looked at her. I was like, I'd love to take you to a steak dinner one of these days. And she's like, okay, I'll take you up on that. And she ended up in Bamsey, and we did. We ended up eating like a steak dinner in my room when I was getting, I was all fucking jacked up.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was super sweet. But anyways, we get flown out of there. We go to the green zone, which is like this giant fucking base where, they have doctors, everything. They stabilize this. And then from there, they flew us to Germany. We got to Germany and we were running a little late because there was, they got these C-130s that are huge.
Yeah.
And they're like hospitals inside of these things. And so this flight had taken off and it was like 30 minutes in the air. I think it was like 30, 45 minutes in the air. They had taken off. They couldn't wait. And the people on the ground called that plane and said, hey, listen, if you guys can come back, it'll be great. But if you can't, we understand. And so they were like, if you guys don't come back, I don't think a lot of like 2 or 3 of these guys are going to make it out because they're that badly wounded. And what was cool was that, throughout the whole thing, God was still with us. The plane turned around. They came down refueled, and pilots are only allowed to fly X amount of hours. These guys refused to leave the cockpit. The people were like, they were trying to open the door to get other pilots in there. And they're like, close the fucking door, fuel us up, and let us get the fuck out of here. We got to take these guys. And whatever bickering went on back and forward, it lasted very shortly. And then they were able to get back up in the air and they brought us to San Antonio. May 14th, I was wounded. May 16th, I was not walking, but they were rolling me through the front door of Fort Sam Houston, the BAMC, which is called San Antonio Army Medical Brooks Center, through the front doors as my dad and my sister were there. They said they saw me roll through. And they said I was so swollen that I looked like the Thing from Fantastic Four.
Oh, I bet.
My dad was like, I didn't know who you were. He's like, I couldn't recognize you. He's like, I just knew it was you because you were the tallest one out of all the 4 of them. And I was like, oh shit. So after that, I ended up sustaining 75% burns to the body. Before I had the amputation to the leg, they ended up amputating half of my foot because when we were in the vehicle, it was so hot that the extra ammunition was cooking off. One of the grenades went off and peppered my whole leg and almost just fucking cut my foot off. So they ended up cutting that off. And then I did limb salvage on it for like 8 years or something like that, 8 or 9 years. And then I ended up amputating my leg.
Why did they have to take the leg?
Why did I amputate it?
Yeah.
So, so after having, like 40, maybe 50 surgeries, all that, leave the hospital, I'm okay. Everything's fine. I want to say I can't even remember what it was. One of my buddies was putting together a road march when they were doing the 22-mile road march for 22 veterans that are committing suicide. And I had a freaking rucksack, and I was like, fuck it, I'm doing this. I ended up putting 222 pounds in my rucksack, opposed to the 22 that everybody else was doing because I thought it was hard. And so finished it, and the bottom of my foot ended up opening up. And I had just started dating my girlfriend at the time. And 2 months went by and it wouldn't heal. She's like, you need to go get that checked out. And I'm like, nah, I'm fine. I know my body. She's like, you need to go get that checked out. I go to the fucking VA to get it checked out. And which I should have gone to BAMC because they've done all 104 of my surgeries. These fucking nurses and doctors know me. Like, and so I was like, I'm gonna go to the VA. So I go to the VA. I see this fucking doctor who, if you've ever been to the VA, these doctors aren't the fucking brightest, or they're the ones that barely fucking got by. And this female doctor looks at my leg. She's like, oh, I think it's just a cut, whatever. We're going to pack it with this. You'll be fine. And I was like, all right, cool. About another 3 weeks go by. And my wife's like, you need to go to the fucking doctor. Go to BAMC. Don't go to the fucking VA. I go to BAMC and the doctor goes, yeah, that's fucking bad. Like, we need to do surgery. And I was like, okay. So we go into surgery like the next day or something. And they ended the surgery early. They pulled me out. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, oh, that was quick. They're like, we didn't finish. And I was like, well, what's the problem? They're like, well, we found a local cancer in that foot. That's why it's not healing. And I was like, oh, shit. And they're like, yeah. So what we're going to do is we're going to schedule another surgery. We're going to come in. We're going to take out as much as we can, and we're going to be doing cultures where you're down to make sure that we take it all out. Cool, let's do it. They do the whole thing. They take everything out, no longer cancer on the foot. They stitched me back up, but they had taken so much meat from the inside that it had nothing to heal. So when they cleared me to walk, I took a step and that shit ripped open. And I was like, oh shit, this hurts. And so on a Friday, I looked at Kristen and I was like, we got to go to the fucking doctor. Like, I need to go talk to the doctor. And she's like, all right, let's go. And so I go. As soon as I walk in, the doctor walks in with the ortho guy, and they're both looking at it. And I was like, just fucking cut it off already. And they're like, we're about to tell you that we got to cut it off because it's not going to heal. And I'm like, well, fuck it. I haven't eaten anything today and haven't had any water since midnight. Let's fucking do this. And they're like, no. They're like, go home. And they're like, spend the weekend with your family. Come back on Monday. We'll do it on Monday. And I was like, fine. Went home, and this is, by the way, like a month and a half into me dating Kristen, and this shit goes down. And anyways, go back on a Monday. I get my leg amputated. She had just started a new teaching job and was like fucking driving from work all the way to San Antonio to go see me, to driving back to, like, it was just fucking trooper. And so they finally cleared me to go home on a Friday. And they spent the whole week. They let me go. They amputate the leg, and they're like, successful. Everything's good. You're good to go. And I was like, cool. This was October 31st. And they're like, yeah, you'll be walking on a prosthetic by like December or January or something like that. And so I was like, no, fuck that. I'm going to do this earlier. And so I went home, did really good fucking wound care on it. Kristen was a rock star, was always changing and make sure that I was okay. I changed my diet, dude. Got rid of sugar, got rid of like carbs, everything. I was eating so fucking clean that my wound closed up in 2 weeks. And by the 3rd week of November, I was getting casted for a prosthetic. But 3 weeks later, I was in a full-on prosthetic. 2 months before, like, ahead of schedule.
It shows you how important your diet really is.
Oh, dude, 100%. 100%.
That's incredible. Now imagine if you were doing that and taking like BPC 157.
Fuck. Or TB 500.
Yeah.
Oh, bro. Oh yeah.
I mean, imagine if you had access to the peptides that you have now,
dude. It would have life changing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You probably would have never had to cut it off.
Yeah.
Honestly, because you probably would have healed it way faster, and it probably would have helped your skin. Probably would have helped all of that stuff.
100%.
That's what I wanted to ask you about. So where your buddy had ripped your fucking skin off your arm?
Yeah.
How did they fix that?
So they did skin grafts, right? So where I didn't get burned, which is 25% of my body, which is mostly my arm, half of my back, half of my upper body here and here, and then my leg. And they took skin off my head too, because I didn't get burned up here. So they took skin off my head. And it's amazing what they can do with a little bit of skin. They stretch it out pretty bad. I mean, pretty bad, like long. And then they put it on here. So I don't have any pores on the skin that's burnt because that's them stretching the skin grafts. So whenever I sweat, I just sweat from the spots that I'm not burned. And it's just all that sweat trying to get out that can't get out. Does that make you overheat? Yeah, and I get dehydrated really fast.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah,
I've seen it on it. We were down a Texas hunt together, and I saw that. I was like, dude, you look like you don't feel great. You're like, dude, I got used to dehydration.
Yeah. I got used to it, but yeah, it's fucking miserable. But it's just something you learn to live with. It's not bad. I mean, at least I'm here, so.
Well, that's why, when people ask me about you, I'm always like, dude, he's the most positive fucking dude you'll ever be around.
I mean,
and for you to be positive and have a fucking testosterone levels of 36 is incredible.
It's weird, man. And I can't take full credit of who I am and the positivity 100% because my family, like my mom and dad, were there with me 100% of the time. And anytime that I would start feeling sorry for myself or I start fucking whining and crying, my dad would fucking lean over and be like, you fucking signed up, right? Man the fuck up. Yes, sir. Done. Or my mom like, hey, we're here. We got you. You have a support system. Get it off your chest. We're here. You're not fucking going anywhere. We're here so that you can succeed. And so all that love, or everything, like my knees, um, another part that I missed, like my brother and his girlfriend at the time got pregnant. And so when I was in the hospital, she used to come in and grab my hand. I was in an induced coma for about 3.5 months is what they kept me under so that I could heal and
Yeah.
not scratch and all that. But they had given my family a 30% chance of survival. They told my mom, like, get ready to start, funeral arrangements. And my mom pretty much looked at him and she's like, you're fucking stupid. My son's going to live. And she used to come in and put her hand on her stomach and be like, hey, your niece wants to meet you. Your niece. And they just said that I would move, like knowing that it was a thing.
Yeah.
And so when she was born, they couldn't bring her in my room because of all the germs and everything. So they made it a point that I needed to learn how to walk out of my room to go to the visiting side to hold her. And so I busted my ass for months until she was finally 4 months and I was able to carry her in my arms. So she single-handedly like saved my life because I had a purpose again.
Yeah.
And
Had a goal to,
yeah, I
to
did.
reach,
Yeah. So it was that. It was the group of friends. It was, it's my wife, like all these people that were behind me, a fucking tribe behind me to make who you see in the front. So
Yeah.
when people like, you're this, you're that, it's not just me. It's literally a fucking village behind me that made this one fucking person
Yeah.
today. So like that's why I feel like I was so positive, is because my niece, my brother, my sister, everybody behind me was like, come on, come
You had all
on.
these people to live for.
Exactly. And so
purpose.
that's what drove me, right? Because I knew that my military career was over, but I needed to find another purpose. And I didn't know what it was. And I was so like torn apart because I wanted to make the military a career. I wanted to do everything. I wanted to be, I go get my contract, go do special forces, go do this, go do that. I just wanted to be that fucking guy. And all that came, and it was at a halt right away. I mean, my career is over.
Yeah.
And there's no way that I'm going to be able to do anything in special operations. There's no way that I can do anything in the infantry world. Nothing, because I'm that jacked up. There's no way that they're going to fucking greenlight me to go back. And so that was one of the hardest things that I had a hard time was with realizing that I'm no longer going to be a cool guy. And yeah, so I was like, fuck. But I found a purpose, and it was to inspire other people. And, I felt like God was like, all right, you're done with that. I'm going to use you this way.
Yeah.
Right. And so because of that, like, I've been able to work with burn kids. I've been able to do like burn camps. I've been able to like to touch people that I've never met in my life. Like, it's such a cool thing to have the platform that I have, because I get messages from people from literally all over the world. Like, ran into somebody in Vegas once from Uganda, and they're like, dude, we fucking love you. And I'm like, where you from? Like, Uganda. I'm like, what the fuck? Like, y'all get internet over there? Like, and you're following me? Like, why? Like, so it's just things like that, man, that I've been able to like, been very blessed to have after being wounded. So being at home and fucking feeling sorry for myself or not succeeding at life was never a fucking choice. It was always like, I gotta utilize what happened to me to help others.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's why I felt like, even being at that number didn't really fucking matter to me. Like, I already had something, I had a purpose once again that I needed to keep pushing forward to.
All right, guys, I want to talk to you about a product that I've been using for a long time, over a decade. When I was playing football, one of my main staples in my diet was bison. I got my bison from Great Range Premium Bison. They make some of the finest cuts of bison you can get. These guys have ribeyes, ground bison, all the steaks that you want. My favorite part about Great Range is that you don't have to worry about antibiotics or growth hormones in their meats. Great Range Premium Bison is a family-owned company providing bison meat from family-owned ranches around the country. So please go check out greatrangebison.com. Oh, let's talk hunting first. Because did you grow up hunting? Is it something that your family did, or was it just something that post-military?
Yeah, it was post-military. Yeah, I mean, I grew up like dove hunting down in Brownsville, because that was like the cheapest thing that you could do down there.
Right.
So we had friends that, their dad would be like, if you come help me fucking work the cattle and do this, then we'll give you access to come shoot dove. Cool. But not really hunted anything. I think I shot my first like deer when I was like 22. And after the injury, 22, 23, I can't remember. Um, and that's when I really started hunting. It was then, and then it was just fucking.
Were you just hooked?
Yeah,
Were you
dude.
were
I was,
hooked?
yeah,
Yeah.
dude, yeah. I mean, like,
Full blown addict.
yeah, dude, yeah. And then I got to the point where, like, I was shooting animals like 600-700 yards with rifles, and I was like, man, this is getting too easy. And then I got introduced into bow hunting, and then I was like, this is awesome. And it was awesome but frustrating. I'm like, why the fuck is my arrow going that way? And then these two are over here, and trying to figure all that out. And then just having, friends like the guys at Archery Country. Tyler's
awesome.
Dude, Tyler's the one that got me hooked. So I lived in Austin at the time. And I went to Archery Country because my buddy Matt Pearson was like, dude, you need to come, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, look, man, my hands are pretty fucked up. Like, I don't want to hurt somebody in the range. And Tyler's like, come after hours. I'll close the whole shop. You can shoot. And so he gave me this fucking Kit's bow. It was a little Matthews Mission. And I was like, cool. And so he gives it to me. It's like 30 pounds. I pull back. I let it go. And he was like, cool, let's dial you in. And so we start working on this Kit's bow with his fucking rinky-dinky sight. And I started getting good at it. Next thing you know, he was increasing my draw to the highs that bow went, which was like 55 pounds.
Yeah.
Which he's like, you can kill anything in North America with that much. And I was like, okay. And so just kept practicing it, and I got hooked. And I was like, I want to be good. I want to be good. I want to be good. And Tyler was like, dude, you're ready to go on a hunt, bro, whenever you want to. And I was like, all right. And things just, aligned. A buddy of mine calls me, has this ranch, and he goes, hey, we bought like 4 or 5 bison for this one friend of ours who's, was going to, I don't know what the hell the guy was going to do with it. His wife got sick and she could no longer eat meat. Something happened, but she went full on vegan and they didn't want the bison anymore. And my buddy's like, just give me what I have into it for feed. You can come shoot one. And I was like, can I bring my bow? And he's like, yeah, good luck. And I was like, what do you mean? He's like, this is 1,500 acres. They're anywhere. And I was like, I can do it. And he goes, cool. And I went out the first day and got my ass handed to me. Like, I don't even remember how many fucking miles I walked, but I got my ass handed to me. I didn't know how to fucking stalk. Like, I was like, this is fucking.
You're just wandering around looking for a bison.
Oh, I saw them and they fucking took off. And I'm like, what the fuck? I was quiet, but the wind was in my face and they can pick up my scent. I was like, son of a bitch. And so went home that day and I was like, all right, can't fail. So fucking looked up YouTube videos on, how to bow hunt and all that. Got dialed in.
So you're out there by yourself?
Yeah. He just let me go.
Well, what were you going to do once you killed it?
Well, I was going to call them. They were going to come help me. Yeah. So I finally spot him, and he had told me which bull to kill. And so I fucking draw back, and he's like, I'm going to come with you. And I was like, all right. And so he got it on film, and I fucking shoot this fucking bison. And dude, I immediately felt the adrenaline that I used to get in combat.
Yeah.
It was like, whoa. And then I was like, so pumped that fucking, like, that whole day. I was like, I could take over the world. Like, and it was so fucking awesome. And then I got to bring that meat home, and that's what we were eating. And I was like, I'm fucking hooked. I was like, I'm hooked. So yeah, that was kind of it. It was post military where I started hunting. And now, man, I'm like, you ever seen those vans that kidnap kids say free candy? Like, if people put one that says free hunt, I'm fucking in there. Yeah. Like, take me with you. Where are we going? That's how Lane gets me to do shit. He's like, hey, we're going to go hunt over here. I'm like, all right, I'll go.
Well, yeah, this fucking guy, Lane. He's always setting me up with some shit. We went on in British Columbia to do a goat hunt this year, and it was fucking unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, we did not want to leave. Because it was just so beautiful.
Yeah. I did a bear hunt in Canada with the rivets.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got to go up there. That's actually where I proposed to my wife.
Oh fuck.
We went to Banff National Park, and she pretty much planned her engagement. My whole plan, and this is just the fucking guy in me, was like, I'm gonna shoot this fucking bear with my bow, and I'm gonna turn around and fucking ask her to marry me. and in my head it made sense. I was like, fuck yeah, it's a great fucking story. And she's like, hey, we're going to be here for a couple extra days. Like, do you want to go? She loves going to national parks. Like, that's her fucking thing. She's been to California, all these places to go see these parks. And she shows me what Banff is, and I start seeing in this place called Lake Louise. And I'm like, man, that is fucking gorgeous. And so I was like, I'm not doing that here. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do it there. And so we go there, and she was not expecting it. Like, we had a conversation before we flew out to Canada about. I was like, I want to buy a house. Let's buy a house, honey. Like, it's the right time. She's like, I'm not buying a house with anybody unless we're married. And I told her, and I had been engaged before that. Like, you go through your mistakes and all
Yeah.
that shit. And I had dated somebody really fucking horrible that I thought was the one, and it kind of like ruined it for me. And so I never really wanted to get married. But when I met my wife, I knew that I wanted to marry her. But I told her to throw her off. Like, I don't know if I ever want to get married. And dude, it was like, I think I broke her heart a little that day. And I feel like such a piece of shit, but I was trying to throw her off the tracks because I'm like, I'm not gonna, I'm not gonna tell you. And so we're on Lake Louise, and she's just looking out and out into the lake, and uh, the tour guide that we paid to go on, it was another family from North Carolina, super sweet people. And I look at the lady, I was like, can you film this? Like, I'm about to do something. And I show her the box. She's like, yes, and takes my phone. I go up to her, and I touch her, and I was like, and I hugged her, and I was like, I love you, right? And like, you mean the world to me. And she's like, I know. And then I just pushed her off, and I got on one knee, and she's like, no, no. And I was like, so every time I'm like, she technically said no, but, and so we got engaged, and yeah, we had a fucking time. It was gorgeous, man. Canada is
Yeah.
fucking gorgeous.
That's why we should just take it.
I think so, yeah, because it holds a very, very special place in my heart. I was like, and I still can't. Now that I look back at it, I can't believe I proposed to her in another fucking country.
It's
like,
crazy, right?
Yeah, I'm like, son of a bitch.
It's just, I mean, it's just like you're so lucky to have found some. I always say that the most important decision you're going to make in life is who you choose as a partner.
Yep.
And it sounds like you found just a
Yeah.
fucking,
Man, she's such a loving, caring person, man. Looks out for everybody. Does a lot for a lot of people. I mean, does a lot for me. Keeps me in
she
a
could have
fucking
bailed
straight-
on you early.
dude. I mean, bro.
Most women probably would have.
I mean, less than 3 months into dating, and I'm having my leg amputated, and she's having to take care of me. And she's like, and it's not like I'm a fucking easy person. I'm a very fucking wounded fucking person. Like, is this really what you want to get into? And like, she did. And so I was like, yeah, this is definitely it right here. Like, because up until that point, like, I had dated these girls who I thought were like it for me, right? And it was because they were fucking good looking and they had all this shit going on, but no fucking career, nothing to drive them, none of that shit. It was just, I was chasing a fucking chick that was not good for me.
Yeah.
And here comes my wife. She's fucking hot, has a career, is very fucking driven, like cares about people, like everything that you look for in a person, right? And I was like, holy fuck, like, and she's interested in me. Like, this is kind of fucking crazy. Like, okay, cool. And so that's the advice I give these guys nowadays. I'm like, look, stop chasing the fucking hot girl that you think is just because she looks fucking hot in a picture that it's gonna be the one for you. I was
Yeah.
like, there is beautiful women out there that have a lot going on for them,
Yep.
that are gonna take care of you, that are gonna fucking want you to succeed, that are gonna drive you, that are gonna motivate you. They're out there. But you're not gonna find them on a fucking OnlyFans page or on the fucking internet.
Yeah.
Or you know what I mean? Like that. No, bro. Like, take your time. Don't jump at one thing right off the bat. Like, make sure that that person has the same goals as you, is driven the same as you, has the same beliefs as you, and that's all that matters. And so, yeah, I was very lucky to find her.
Yeah, man, I'm happy for you. I'm happy that you found her.
Yeah, me too.
Because it's just phenomenal to hear that.
Yep.
So when did you decide, hey, I'm going to start filming my hunts?
Dude, it was out of a whim, dude. It was just, I was watching some of these videos and I'm like, man, these guys are fucking idiots. They don't know what they're doing. I can do it better, type deal thing.
Yeah.
And it honestly started more with powerlifting before any of that. Like, I went back home to Brownsville. I was hanging out with the same fucking crew that I was hanging out with in high school and all that. People just drinking, partying, guys that were still living at their mom's house, didn't really have a fucking job, had kids with different women and fucking had child support, but never could pay their child support where they were all partying. And I caught myself and I was like, man, do I really want to waste my life doing this shit? Like, no. And so my buddy Rod, who runs a gym down there called Hard Knocks, invited me to come see a strongman competition. And I was like, cool. So I went and, I walked in there like, oh, this is stupid. And watching these guys, I was like, fuck, I got motivated. I was like, this is fucking cool. So I was like, hey man, when do you guys have classes? Like, we're back starting on Monday. We're gonna be deadlifting. You should come. And like the whole weekend, I'm like, man, I don't know if I can deadlift. I'm like, fuck. And so I walked in there, just kind of shy. And he's like, dude, come on, let's deadlift. And I was like, cool. So, one plate. I'm like, oh, I can do this. Two plates. I was like, 3 plates started getting hard. And he goes, hold on, bring some straps. He straps me into the bar. Fucking deadlift 315. I was like, put another 45. I think I can do it. I deadlifted like 405 the first day, walking to the gym, never fucking nothing. And he's looking at me and I was like, everybody's just kind of like, what the fuck? And I was like, I can go heavier. I was like, is that okay? And he's like, are you fucking, he's like, I've been training some of these guys for a while. They can't do that. And I was like, so is that good? He goes, yeah.
Yeah, it's fucking good.
So the fucking iron bug bit me, dude. And I got into powerlifting really into it. And next thing you know, I set a goal for myself. I was like, I want to deadlift 700 pounds and I want to bench 500. And ended up doing it. And that's kind of how I started. My whole social media started growing because I had guys like, Eddie Cohen was reaching out. Ed Conan, dude, reached out to me.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck? Like the GOAT, And he's like, what do you need? I'll help you. I love what you're doing. And I was like, what the fuck? Brandon Lilly started coaching me. Like, fucking West Side Barbell.
Yeah.
Fucking, I was like, I looked up to the dude and he became a fucking great friend. He's a really good friend of mine. And so like they started doing it. And then I met Bert from Sornex and
Yeah.
his dad. And I mean, there's videos of me deadlifting with Pops and everything, shout out to Pops. We miss you. But went out there, dude, I was fucking deadlifting. When I had my leg amputated, I think I went back over there like 7 months after I had my leg amputated and deadlifted 600 pounds.
That's
At
crazy.
Yeah. And I was like, I was so fucking like, dude, I was so pumped. And so got it down. And I was like, everybody's just like, what the So that was kind of like what started opening doors for me was that. And then I started filming me going to the range and shooting and talking and telling people like, this is how I shoot because of my hands, but you should do this grip, little things like that. Started filming hunting stuff. Luke was like, hey, come to the Badlands show. I got a ticket for you. And I was like, what the fuck is Badlands show? I was like, what is that? He goes, it's all these films. And Lane, that's the year you won it, right? Lane was sitting right behind me while his fucking film was going on. I was like, yo, that is such a fucking cool film. I'm like, that's the best one. And he was right behind me. He's like, I filmed that. I was like, get the fuck out of here. And he goes, yeah. And then we like fucking became friends and started chatting. And then like, he's like, you should come hunt here. And then we ended up hunting together in Colorado, and right outside of Rifle, right? Yeah, I drove from Texas all the way up here just because of that. I was like, fuck yeah. And dude, and then that just got me fucking hooked. He started filming a bunch of my hunts. We started going all over the place. And then just because of it, dude, I've met so many amazing people like Aaron Schneider, we were just talking about earlier. Fuck, I'm probably gonna forget Josh Smith. Everybody, dude, you can think of like because of that. It's opened up so many doors for me, and it's just been so amazing because you typically always hear people like, oh, you don't want to go hunting, it's only for fucking white people and all this shit and like, oh, and it's just like
rednecks.
yeah. And I'm like, dude, every fucking camp that I've been to, whether it's duck camp, deer camp, elk camp, whatever the fuck camp it is, I've always been treated great with the same respect, everything. And some of my best friends have come out of from hunting, and I'm like, what is this mentality of it's only reserved for just these people? Like, no, it's not. Not at all.
It's literally for
everybody. And so, and then I was like, I'm gonna make it my mission that I want to make sure that every little fucking Mexican kid out there or black kid or whoever it is sees that they can do this and go have fun and enjoy the outdoors because it's such a beautiful thing. When walking some of these fucking mountains that Lane will fucking make me hike on one fucking leg. And we were up there and it's just breathing, or not even breathing because I was fucking dying of elevation, but just experiencing that and being out there just with my bow, and seeing this beautiful creation that God has given us and gathering my thoughts. And I've said this multiple times, like when you're walking up a fucking mountain with your bow, you really get to know your person. Like you get to know yourself because there's been times where I'm walking those fucking mountains and I'm like, am I being a good husband? Am I a good friend? Am I a good person? If I die right now, am I going to heaven? Like, could I do better things? And you can go down a really bad fucking hole asking yourself those questions, or you can come off that mountain and be like, I need to make some changes in my life.
Yeah.
And that's what it's done for me. And it's clear in my head. And it's just, I always tell people, take the time. Even if you're not hunting, go fucking hike.
Just be out there.
Yeah, enjoy Mother Nature because it's a beautiful fucking drug.
Hey everybody, this episode is brought to you by Black Buffalo. Black Buffalo's nicotine pouches do not contain tobacco leaf or stem. What they do contain is a ton of flavor, and they're packed with pharmaceutical grade nicotine. The magic of Black Buffalo is they discovered a way to make cured edible green leaves behave like the texture of tobacco. And they add food grade ingredients for industry classic flavors. You're in good company if you roam with the Black Buffalo herd. The business was built by dippers with decades of smokeless tobacco use. They manufacture their tobacco alternatives with respect for those products that came before them. Bold flavors, full pouches, metal lids, and a brand that stands for something, American. Their products are also proudly endorsed by brand ambassadors such as MMA Hall of Famer, Cowboy Cerrone, NASCAR champion, Brian Blaney, rising country star Larry Fleet, and Rob O'Neill, former U.S. Navy SEAL Team 6. So if you're 21 and older and you consume nicotine or tobacco and you want to join the Black Buffalo herd, head over to blackbuffalo.com to learn more. You can order nicotine pouches online and they ship directly to most states. Or you can check out their store locator to purchase pouches at thousands of retail locations around the country. Black Buffalo, an American brand, pouches worth respect. Well, they say that 3 days out there without any cell phone service can last you for a whole year.
Oh, yeah.
Just 3 days.
As much as I'm addicted to my phone, sometimes it's great not having reception and just being away. I did a fucking hunt in Alaska, in Sitka, Alaska. We went to some fucking place on a boat that was like 6 hours away from Sitka, like Prince something Island.
I know which one you're talking about. It's Prince of Wales.
Prince of Wales. Yeah. No reception. I had a sat phone, and the only person I called was my wife.
Yeah.
Baby, I'm alive. I love you. I'll talk to you soon, Duke. Baby, we got one. I'll see you soon. That was it. Other than that, no phone, nothing. I was just seeing the fucking grizzly tracks around. I was like, we should not sit here. Let's go camp over there. But man, just being out there. And it's something about leaning up against a tree and taking a shit in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, it's the best.
It's just enjoying it. You're like, this is awesome.
I look forward to it.
Yeah.
Take some baby wipes, go take a nice dump. It's the best.
Yeah, dude.
And then the naps that you take out there.
Oh my God.
Dude.
Bro, yeah. There's a picture of me when we went on this hunt. And thankfully, I was wearing a shirt because if it would have been any hunter, they would have thought I was a black bear because I was rolling and fucking
berries,
just rolling and grabbing them and throwing them in my mouth and rolling the other way. Like, oh my God, dude. It was such a fucking cool experience to do. I ended up shooting a Sitka deer at like 740 yards. We had to hike fucking several months to go get that motherfucker, but it was such a cool time, dude. Like it was like amazing. I love Alaska.
Well, you live in the best place ever for hunting. So
Texas.
You get to literally hunt all year round.
Yeah, that is true.
You can hunt exotics all year round.
Yep.
You can hunt pigs all year round. You have unbelievable whitetail hunting down there.
Yep.
I'm jealous of it.
We need to get you down there to go do an axis hunt again because I know last time you passed or wait.
No, I didn't take my bow with me.
That's right.
I just took my shotgun because we needed a turkey killed.
We were turkey hunting. That's right.
We needed a turkey killed, and I was like, "All right, guys, I'm gonna go fucking kill a turkey in the morning."
He did,
and you guys were all like, "Yeah, right. You fucking."
I was like, he doesn't know what he's doing. Next thing you know is turkey. Now I was like, oh shit,
I know how to kill turkeys because I did it since I was a kid. I know how to kill turkeys and whitetail, but I'm sitting there under this. I like tucked up under this fucking pine tree. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to call that fucker right down this road. And he did. He came right down that road. But before he got there, there was like two
monster bucks.
The biggest axis I've ever seen. I've never seen axis that big.
Yeah.
At 20 yards. And they were there for like 30 minutes, dude.
Free range, by the way.
Free range.
Yeah. We were up in Sonora area where my buddy, it's like 1,000 acres or something crazy like that. But yeah, free range axis.
It wasn't even a high fence. It was just free range axis. And I was like, what the fuck? Yep. And I'm sitting there like, I didn't bring my bow.
Yep.
And I can't believe it. I'm just sitting there with this fucking 12 gauge.
Yep. Like, what am I going to do with turkey shot? Like, nothing.
Nothing. Yeah. I was so pissed because we had tried to sneak up on, Lane and I one time we were calling a turkey, and he was like talking, and as we were kind of like sneaking up, this huge another big axis was just kind of like hanging out, and I was like, "Hey, let's go back and grab my bow." He was like, "All right," so we go grab my bow and come back, and he's gone.
He's gone. Yeah,
You know, so
he heard that twig like a mile away. He's
Yeah.
like, "I'm out."
yeah, he got the fuck out of there.
They're
But
sketchy. That's
dude, they're so spooky.
yeah.
But they were there still when I shot that turkey, and all hell broke loose. When that bird came down the road and he popped right in front of me, I blasted him. Those fuckers I mean, they were out of there so fast.
Yeah.
They are so quick.
Yep.
But dude, they had no clue I was there for 30
in
minutes.
their natural habitat, they get chased by fucking tigers.
I know.
That's why they have it
that
in their
100-yard
blood.
buffer.
Yeah.
It's like a 100-yard buffer with them. Like as soon as you get within 100 yards of them, they get fucking weird. Like it's like they can sense that something's there.
Oh yeah.
They're super cool animals, and that's something I really want to kill is some axis because I love the meat. It's so good.
Yep.
And they're super pretty animals. Like their hides are super pretty. So it's something I'd like to
come
go down.
back. We can do it again in March because I mean that's when the rut starts happening.
It's in March.
Yeah, dude. We'll be able to call them in.
All right, we could do.
So
I think turkey season's in then too, right?
Yep. So we can go. We can either do one thing. We can go hammer out turkey right away, or we can do axis and then hunt turkey.
I think we do axis first.
Yeah.
Because
agree.
I should have never made that mistake.
It happens.
Wait, didn't Lane try to shoot one too? Didn't you try to shoot one?
Oh no, I hate it. We never found it. That's the only.
I shot an
No,
odd
no,
down there
no.
too, and it went to the neighbors, and he wouldn't let us go get it.
Oh,
remember?
that's true. Yeah, the neighbor over there is pretty an asshole.
He wouldn't let me go get the odd.
Yeah.
I know he's dead over there. Let me
Yeah.
come get him. He's like, nah.
Yeah,
It's
I
like,
know.
what?
Yeah, no, that neighbor's not a good dude. But yeah. I forgot he did shoot one. We couldn't find it.
That sucks.
Like Colorado boys can't shoot.
That motherfucker can shoot.
I know he can. I'm just.
You
talking
gotta.
shit to
We'll
him.
after we get off, we'll talk about how the elk hunt that I was doing this year was on a really good unit
Yeah.
up by my cabin, and dude, it just like I
saw
made
the video.
I made Lane sprint a fucking mile up a mountain pretty much. Like we sprinted, and I kept looking back, going, "Come on, Lane, let's go!" And I'm just like fucking sprinting up there, and then finally I gassed out and had to stop for like 2 or 3 minutes because it was stupid. Like nobody else would look at that and be like, "Yeah, we can go up there and get them." But my dumbass is like, "Yeah, let's run up to those jack pines and fucking get them. Try to get one killed." We get up there and we sneak down, and I get busted by a cow at 55 yards from a bull, and then all hell broke loose. Dude, nothing. I've never seen anything like that. You know Levi too, right? So Levi is in my truck at the bottom of the mountain, and I'm screaming for him to like stop the elk from crossing the road. Screaming, and he can't. I'm like, what the fuck is he doing? Like I was freaking the fuck out, dude. And then we bust down the hill and get down there. Then I chase him up I tried to chase him on the other side of the road, and I cut him off, and I get to the last elk in the herd. And it was obviously the bull's like way up in the front. You know, he wasn't there. So we were fucked. And then I like threw a fucking bitch fit for a minute and like get all my anger out. And then I was like, all right, I'm good now.
Well, I do gotta say, I've been up here multiple times and I've never killed an elk.
It's dude. That was the other thing I'm going to tell you about. So it's funny because I just was telling Mendez about it. So I just leased a place.
You mean we?
Yes, I just leased a place that's over the counter.
Oh hell yeah!
And so Lane will make sure you get that over the counter tag. 'Cause you just have to put in early, right? Yeah. He'll just have to get one right away.
Okay.
And then you'll come out. You know Andrew Arabito with Half Face Blades?
Yes.
So Beto's gonna come.
Nice.
Snyder's gonna come.
Badass.
Born Primitive will be there. So we're gonna film that whole thing. Mike Kern will come with us.
Yeah, let's do it the same weekend. Dude. I would love that.
Yeah, we'll do it this September. I have there's 2 different wells on it. There's a cabin up there for us to stay in. There's 2 different wells, natural springs for us to hunt. So
nice.
if it comes down to it, we'll just sit water.
Yeah.
But I have 1,000 acres with 400,000 BLM surrounding it.
Dude. Fuck yeah.
And the only other people hunt in that area are like an outfit. So
nice.
they're just pushing bulls to us. So
yeah, fuck yeah.
So they said we could take the people that run the place, that own the place, said you could probably take 4 to 5 bulls every year and not notice it.
Damn.
So he's like, there's so many elk. They fly. The CPW flies it all the time, so they know how many elk are up there. Pretty approximately.
Listen, I don't need to shoot a monster, dude. As long as I pull a bull down.
Well, that's how I feel about it too, man. Like I chased. Lane was with me in New Mexico, and I made the mistake of chasing a giant.
Oh, I heard.
And left after 7 days and probably 150 miles. easily.
Yeah,
I
no.
put Lane through hell.
Yeah, he told me. I was gonna call you and be like, so what? But I was like, might be
Dude,
a little
it
sore
sucked,
subject
man.
right now.
It sucked so bad. It was like, well, because I had opportunity, right? Like I had opportunity to shoot bulls, and I didn't because there was one bull that I
you were
kept
chasing.
seeing.
Yeah.
I passed a 300-inch bull, 310,
Yeah,
315-inch
crack.
bull.
I would have shot that bitch.
He was just standing there. I was like, nah, I want that one. That's the one I want to hunt.
It always happens.
But I should have had him
that.
dead, Lane. He should have been dead. He was bedded at 150 yards, wind ripping in our face, and we're all. So my guide, my buddy Braxton, was like, "Just be patient. Just be patient." I was like, "No, I'm fucking going." And he was like, "No, be patient. These two cows up here are gonna see you, and they're gonna fuck it all up." And I was like, "They're not gonna see me." And he's like, "They're definitely gonna fucking see you. You're
They're not
fucking
gonna see the
6'7"
6'7" guy.
Yeah, they're gonna see your dumbass. So I waited for like 30 minutes, Lane, you think? Wait for like 30 minutes, and then they finally feed off. And as soon as they feed off, I hear a random bugle. And I'm like, that ain't good.
Yeah.
And next thing I know, dude, I mean, he's bedded at 150, laying there facing away from me.
Oh,
so
shit.
I couldn't just walk 100 yards and smoke him.
Damn.
And all hell breaks loose. And I'm just standing there in shock. Because that day alone was 10 miles following him.
Oh shit.
And it was a rut fest in there. It was going crazy. There was a bull that had 7 on one side and his other side was broke off. There was like 2 or 3
so
330 bulls. There was like 2 or 3 330 bulls in there. There was another bull was like 350 in there. Then the big boy was in there.
I would have shot his ass.
Well, I was at 150 yards. I couldn't.
Let it fly.
Yeah.
Lane see me let it fly.
Dude,
at
this
100.
guy comes, I pull up my binos and I see a guy walking in there with the wind to his back and an arrow knocked.
Oh shit.
And that's why, he blew them all out
Yeah.
because they winded him and they all fucking lost their minds. And then I was never able to get on him again. And it just sucked.
It always happens that way.
And then this year I tried to shoot one at like, what was it? 86 yards, 82 yards. And
I saw the clip.
he was quartering to just enough.
Yeah.
And it stuck right in that breastplate.
I saw the video.
I was like, dude, what the fuck?
Hey, dude, it happens.
What the fuck? 4 inches to the right and he's smoked, you know? And it's just, it's the way it goes. So this year I'm not fucking around. The first legal bull that I see, I'm shooting him because unless I know for a fact that I got one patterned and he's playing again. That's the thing about bow hunting elk that people don't understand is that if you get picky with elk, you don't know if that bull's going to play the game.
Come back again? Yeah.
He might not play the game, right? He
might
might
just
not
been there
answer
for the
calls.
day.
Yeah, he might not answer calls, right? He might bugle back at you, but he's never going to leave his cows. He's never leaving his cows. So that's just the game that you play, man.
I got lucky ones with Tyler. You can ask Tyler. Tyler can confirm this fucking story because it seems unreal. We went to Wyoming, Gillette, Wyoming. We were hunting pronghorn. I had just gotten a brand new bow, like a big boy bow. And I moved up to the adult Matthews bow, not the kid's bow. Anyways, I think it was the VX3 when it had just came out. And so we go out there. First day we get to camp, right? The guys are like, hey, let's go scout. I'm like, okay. So I grab my bow and we head out. Camera guy's like, do I need to come? I was like, nah, we're just going to go scout, bro. Stay behind. He's like, okay. We fucking see this huge herd and it breaks apart, right? And then there's this big old fucking buck. And he's sitting there looking at his girls and he's just like sitting on this rock. And I'm like, fuck it. I go grab my bow. Tyler's right behind me. And he goes, 80. And I was like, cool. So we start making our way. He's like, 60. And then that fucking buck just starts moving. And I was like, damn it. He goes, it's at 80. So I dial in at 80. I draw back. He starts walking. I'm like, fuck. And he goes, 85, 90, 95, 100. And it was such a cool thing, dude. The wind stopped. Perfect. I mean, everything, right? And so I just raised my bow a little bit. Said, fuck it. I let it fly. I see that arrow gone. And then I see it again. Raw pinwheel, dude. Fucking. The buck just goes.
Pinwheeled him.
Yep. And then he just does this little number and looks and starts running and then boom. And I look back. I was like, did I get him? And Tyler's like, oh my God, that is the best shot I've ever seen. Everybody, like 200 miles, or I mean 200 yards back on the truck are like, oh my God, everybody's jumping. I was like, oh shit. Then we walked out to who's there. I was like, holy shit. My arrow was like 50 yards like away from him, and he was over there. And I
Full
was like,
pass through. Fuck yeah.
yeah,
man.
I was like, oh my God. Needless to say, I tried doing that again with Lane last year, and I didn't connect. So I'm gonna blame Lane on that one. 'Cause he's
Lane's bad luck.
bad
dude.
luck.
He's bad luck. He's fucking bad luck. Two fucking hunts to get skunked on with him, but we did fucking make it happen. Dude, this mountain goat. Did he tell you about the mountain goat? How I shot it in the ear, the neck? Like it fucking it at 67 yards downhill, it went through his ear and hit him in the neck. And I thought I missed him.
Oh,
So I was like, fuck. I was so pissed. So I put my bow, I strapped my bow back onto my pack, and I was thinking, I was pissed because I knew that like what we had to go through to get to that area to hunt, and we were gonna have to go back to camp and have to hike that again in the morning to come back and try to find him. Because he was a huge goat, just a giant.
I saw the
Billy.
picture,
Just a giant Billy, and so I'm like walking up there, and Snyder's like, "Hey, he's fucking right here!" Like he's trying to tell me, and I'm just like, and I'm just pissed. I'm like, I'm gonna throw myself off this fucking mountain. And I look up, and he's like, telling me he's right here underneath of us. So I fucking hurry up, pull my bow off, and as I'm pulling my bow off, here comes fucking Heavyfoot Lane walking up the mountain, fucking stomping, which I would have too. Which I would have too if I was him, because I was like walking up there like nothing happened too. And so I'm like, "Hey, Lane." He's like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "He's fucking goat right there." And he's like, "Oh shit!" Like, so we're all like panicking. And I get up there, and the goat's at like 90 yards now. He was at if I would have like had my bow been ready to go, he was at 40 yards.
Damn.
Just sitting there bleeding, because I thought I missed him.
Yeah.
Because the way the arrow like hit his ear and neck, and then it like smacked him on the back. Like I was like,
shit.
And I didn't go down to the arrow. I just wanted to see if we could find the goat first before I went down to the arrow. And because I knew it was on the other side of that, which was just a straight down into some water, like something miserable.
Yeah.
And then the goat's like kind of like, he's acting wobbly and weird. Like he's probably going to die. He's bleeding pretty good.
Yeah.
So I'm like, and Snyder goes, "Fucking shoot him now. Take the rifle and shoot him now." He's like, because he's going to go down to the bottom of this and we're fucked.
Yeah.
He's like, "It's going to suck. I already had to do this once this year." So I shot him and dropped him right there.
Yeah.
And it was just like, it sucked because it would have been probably a book goat for a bow kill.
For a bow kill.
But technically is a rifle kill. But whatever, who cares? I don't ever actually put anything in the book, but
yeah,
it's just cool to say, I guess.
Yeah.
Which, who cares? To me, it was great that we got one killed.
Yeah.
On the first like actual stalk that we did.
Nice.
It was the first stalk.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it worked out.
I mean, I think it's still a bow kill. I don't know.
Yeah. Half. It's like a half bow kill.
I
He
mean,
probably would have died. I don't know. What do you think, Lane? He probably would have died. Yeah, he was bleeding bad.
Yeah.
He would have died. Those goats, once you cut them, they usually die pretty quick. So
yeah.
But he was acting wobbly and weird.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't blame you. I don't want to lose an animal either, or watch him be in pain.
No,
I
want to put him out of his misery.
100%. Great call.
And he ate so good. How good was that goat, Lane? He was just phenomenal. It's so good. I don't know if it's because I was eating those peak meals for like 4 or 5 days straight, but dude, he was so good. We cooked him in like some old pan that we found on the fucking trail. He was so good.
I've never had it.
But Omar, I'm gonna wrap this up.
Yeah, brother.
We could go for fucking hours if we wanted to, but what is where can people find you on YouTube and on Instagram?
Everything, man. Just Crispy 11B.
Crispy 11B.
That's it.
Check him out
on all platforms.
Omar, appreciate you making the time,
brother.
man. Looking forward to us smacking some birds tomorrow.
Oh, dude, I'm so excited.
Should be a good time.
I'll be talking shit.
Oh, there's gonna be all kinds of shit talking going on. More and Sap will fucking be talking.
I hear it's gonna be his birthday.
Oh, it's his birthday?
That's what Lane told me.
I think he said it. I'll text him and ask him if it's his birthday. I think he did tell me it was his birthday. So
yeah, I think it's been confirmed that it is his birthday.
It's gonna be a blast.
We got to bring him like a Twinkie or something with a candle in it or something.
Like a cupcake, a hostess,
yeah, something
like a little Debbie.
Oh yeah, he'll like that.
Well, cool, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, brother. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thanks for listening to the Wolfe Untamed podcast. Be sure to check me out on Instagram, DerekWolf_95. Check out the Wolfe Untamed podcast on YouTube. You can listen on all the other platforms, as well as DerekWolf.com.